This is the Feiyu Tech SCORP C gimbal camera stabilizer. So I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, MSRP is about $250. I'll put a link to the unboxing and setup in a separate video in the description. So this guy, if you've ever used a camera stabilizer, operates pretty much as you'd expect. Right now it's in pan follow mode, so as I move around it follows where I'm panning, but it will stabilize up and down, and rotation it tries to keep me from being able to rotate the camera too badly. Now I can change the mode to pan tilt follow, and that way if I start going up or down, the tilt will follow. I can also change it to FPV, which means I can rotate and it will follow the rotate, but it's also trying to stabilize the camera. So as I shake, it's kind of doing an anti-shake on the camera. Now most people use pan follow mode most of the time. If it's off from where you want it to point, you can double click and it will center. If you point it at something and you hold the trigger, it will track that area so that you can move the thing around and it'll kind of follow where you were pointing it to begin with. And if you triple click, it will spin around into selfie mode, and now you can talk to the camera, and when you're done talking to the camera, you can triple click again and it will go back out to film that way. Now if that user interface for the trigger sounds familiar, it's probably because that's the exact same thing that the DJI Ronin stabilizers do with their trigger. So this guy is at the lower end of the stabilizer market. This is the C2, not the 2. So it does not have a touch screen. It has a small display, but not a touch screen. It also has an integrated battery, so there's no way to remove the battery. You can charge it through a port up here, but you basically have to charge the battery in the device. You can't swap out batteries. All right, so it has this included little leg system where you can set it down flat, or you can hold onto it as a second handle. They also kind of have a suitcase handle here, so you can use that if you're changing hands. You can grab the suitcase handle. You can also hold it down low with the suitcase handle and get low to the ground shots by holding it this way. So I'm using a Sony Alpha A6300 camera on this. It's less than 2 pounds with that lens. This guy has a claimed payload capacity of a little north of 7 pounds, so I'm not really stressing it out with this camera, at least I shouldn't be. All right, let's go outside, shoot some footage with this guy, turned on, turned off, see how well it stabilizes. All right, this is a 210mm zoom lens, so any instability is going to be greatly magnified. Normally you wouldn't be shooting video with this type of a lens in most situations, not while you're moving, but we're going to use this to demonstrate the stabilization. So I have PF mode here, and we're just going to walk while attempting to point at that house over there. So it's doing a pretty reasonable job, but it shifts off to the side sometimes there. Camera and zoom lens, the gimbal is locked and turned off, so I'm just walking now myself, attempting to keep it somewhat stable. I'm only using one hand in both of these shots, so I could do a better job with two, but we're just going to demonstrate the difference here between gimbal on and gimbal off. So that was definitely more shaky. So this is a 55mm lens, and so that's a more reasonable setup here. All right, this is walking at a normal pace with a 55mm lens. Alright, this stabilizer turned off, just walking at a normal pace with a 55mm lens. I am using this pan tilt follow mode, following this jet handheld. This is a 210mm lens. I'm in pan tilt follow mode and a 210mm lens. Normally for a space launch like this, I would be using a tripod. My monitor screen was not good enough to really capture that thing. Alright, so this is the tail from the launch that I pretty much mostly missed. So in addition to this little trigger right here, there's also a control knob here. So I have this knob controlling the tilt, but you tap that button, you can change it around to control pan, or you can have it do rotation of the camera. You can also program this to control the camera's focus or exposure, aperture, that type of thing, if you have the cable connecting the camera to the gimbal. There's also an A and a B button that are kind of programmable. There's a jump to first person view quickly button, and there's a thing here that allows you to adjust what that knob does. It changes between pan follow, pan tilt follow, and first person view. There's also a button here. This can be used to take a picture or start video or stop video recording if you have a cable controlling your camera. There's a little joystick here, and the joystick can be used to control the camera. Now, most things you need to do are just available right here and with the various buttons out of the box. They do have a phone app that connects to it that can customize the buttons, customize and tune the speed of the stabilization motors, auto-tune it, and do a firmware update on it. But you can use the gimbal out of the box without a phone. So the AI follow mode is useful when you're tracking a subject, but also if you have it tripod mounted. So you make the OK symbol to enable it, and then if you have the cable connected to the camera, you can do a hands up to start recording, and it will basically flash the green light to say, hey, we're recording, and then it just follows you around. So you can walk around the room and it will just track you. You can do what you need to do, walk around elsewhere. If you want to stop tracking, you make a two thumbs together gesture, and at this point you can walk around the room and it will stop tracking. And if you want to start tracking again, you just make the OK symbol, the light turns green, it starts tracking you. You can move around. And of course it does up and down as well. It's not just panning. And then you can hold your hand up to stop it. All right. OK, it's tracking now.
No, it is. Oh, yes.
Now, turn around and walk sideways. So it's still tracking. Doing humanoid tracking. All right, you ready to run? Yeah, it's still tracking you.
Darn it! I thought that would work.
I thought it would work too, but it got you when you came out from behind the tree. Yeah, that worked. Okay, let's do it.
It's not tracking.
It's not?
Oh, yes it is. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. a Sony a6300, which instead of having a USB-C port, has a micro USB port. And I've purchased two different Sony multi-compatible cables from two different Amazon vendors, and neither one of them worked with this mount and that camera. So eventually I went to the mount manufacturer. I paid them 20 bucks to ship me a cable from China. And so this is the official cable from the mount manufacturer, and that's the one that worked with my camera. So with the camera control cable, you can do things like use this button to start recording instead of having to push that tiny little button up there. And also with the phone app, you can say, hey, I want to do a custom panorama, 3 shots by 2 shots, hit start shooting. This guy will move around and it will automatically take a picture at each of the 6 places it's going to stop. Now you can choose how far it moves for each of these pictures, you know, how much overlap there is, that type of thing. So you do have to set that up appropriately for your lens focal length. But essentially it will go through and automatically shoot panorama images for you. The phone app also has a time-lapse or hyperlapse type setup where it will, for example, just take a picture every second. They also allow you to add waypoints, so you can point your camera at different places and add different waypoints and have it, you know, move between these waypoints as it is shooting. So I've set 4 waypoints. I hit the preview button and it will go up to the first, the second, the third, and the 4th waypoint. And then we can just say start shooting. So it's smoothly moving between each of my waypoints, and it's taking a picture every second. So essentially this is a motion time-lapse, while it's both time-lapsing with photos and very slowly interpolating between the waypoints. Now in this one, the C model, there's not a touchscreen here, so you have to do all of this with the phone app on your phone. If you have the non-C model, I believe some of these modes can be programmed and controlled directly from the touchscreen. So in addition to time-lapse with pictures, you can do the same thing with a track video recording, where it will start at a first point, start recording, dwell for a while, move on to the second point, and the amount of time it takes to move to the second point is programmable. It dwells there for a while, then it moves on to a third point, and the speed and time at which it takes to move between these points is all programmable. And then when it's done, it stops the recording. So you could use this to set up you know, a complicated camera follow action to some type of very timed and pre-planned shot where you had to have a camera moving in a very specific way. Alright, small handheld camera stabilizer, does what it's supposed to do, works pretty well, has all the features I'd kind of expect from something in this product category. So you've seen how it works. I've shown you the sample videos. You'll have to decide, you know, is this price point the right amount for that amount of stabilization? Now obviously the comparison to make is to the DJI Ronin stabilizer like the 4 or the 4 Pro. This is the SC, so I would say compare this to the non-Pro version. In functionality, it's pretty darn close. Now, it may not be quite as good at stabilizing the image, but for most usages, I think it's going to work well for you. The stabilization is pretty darn close. Just looking at the video footage, it was hard for me to tell which one was doing the stabilization. And the really big difference here is the price. This guy's a lot cheaper.